Okay, so we're nearly 500 people, so I think I'll start since we have such a enormous program today, more than ever. So welcome everybody to the World Wool Forum, which is an online version of an in-person event that we recently did in Rome, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. And so we look forward to sharing all of the findings from Rome with you, since we're now all much more knowledgeable than ever before on this subject. My name is Fimmano, and along with Li Edelkoort, we founded the World Hope Forum about 5 years ago. And we're excited to be doing this special subject on wool in order to explore and expand our understanding of these amazing animals and how agriculture and designers are working together. This, of course, is the merino sheep, which, as useful as they are also a monoculture in the fashion industry. And so today we're going to be hearing about all the other breeds of sheep, because there's actually 200 different species of sheep around the world. And every country, of course, has meat and farming industries which use them and work with them. So we're going to be learning more about how we can value their fleeces more, how we can value their presence in our communities more, and how we can work together and coexist. Before we start, I wanted to dedicate today's Hope Forum to Jane Goodall, who recently passed away. She actually passed away on the day that we were in Rome. And so we want to be inspired by her as a leader, as one person who can change the world by changing one person at a time. And so with that idea, we look at her mission, which is to create a world where we can live in harmony with nature. Let us develop respect for all living things. So this idea of coexistence is at the heart of all of the presentations today, and really is, I think, a vision for the future. If we think about ecology and sustainability, we have to think about interdependence and coexistence. So these images that I'm showing you are by the Dutch designer Christine Mindersma, whose work has been instrumental, I would say, in helping us understand the value of sheep. Of course, we go from the animal with all of their fleece to here because they give us their fleece very generously. And with this amazing fleece, we're able to make remarkable things. Christine's work has been instrumental, I think, in raising awareness around the valuing of this material and the valuing of animals and our relationship to them. This is a project where she shows that the amount of wool that comes from each individual animal, and that from that we can, of course, make a certain amount of product. So this resource of fleece is something which is highly valuable, even if in some cases it's sold for very small amounts of money. This is Christine's graduation project that she did when she was at the Design Academy in Eindhoven, which was very much the start of this journey for her to show that from one sheep we can make an entire sweater, as well as a pair of mittens and a hat. So you can see the little yarn at the bottom of her sweater, which joins to the rest of the collection. And she even shows the award and has the plastic clip of the sheep to really give us the presence of the person or the animal behind this particular garment, so that we understand our intrinsic links to the wool and its origins. Christine has been working tirelessly over the past 20 or odd years. This is her latest project, which is collaborating with a robot, which is a 3D printer, to recycle wool from all sorts of sources before turning it into a 3D form. So making a 3D felted object, which is printed, which can be used for making furniture, for making insulation, for making all kinds of building materials or furniture. So here you can see that wool is entering a new era in which it becomes not just a recyclable material or a more valued resource, but that it can take on shapes and uses that we never even imagined before. One of those uses is to use it in the construction industry. So as we look to all of the different communities that have issues around the waste of their wool from the meat industry, which often gets thrown away, buried, or burnt, we can perhaps use it like Cradle to Cradle does to make new bricks. either as insulation or even mixing them with other materials such as seaweed to create these new sustainable fibers. Wool in fashion is also becoming a very dynamic material, reinventing itself as an activewear material and even as a swimwear material. So for many generations ago, we used to have swimwear, which was actually woven from wool, which is an incredible sustainable fiber, which has amazing properties and also not only can breathe, but also does dry very quickly. So here you can see one of the brands which is using it in a surprising way to make swimwear again. It's also used for underwear in many brands, such as Hanro. And here you can see another brand which is looking at very cool people who are using wool instead of cotton for their undergarments, not just to keep warm, but also that they breathe and that they have a more sustainable story. As I mentioned, wool is also a tech fiber today. So if you connect with Woolmark or other organizations, you can be linked to the kind of weavers and mills who are making these tech materials. They're super fine woven. They don't smell when you take them on a trip for a camping for a few days. They have amazing retention for warmth as well as breathing qualities. And so for all of these reasons, the coolest new material in activewear is actually wool. We're also thinking about a lot of the designers and intellectuals who are helping us raise awareness around the industry of wool. One of those design studios is Forma Fantasma, whose exhibition Oltre Terra recently has been investigating the dichotomies and the relationships that we have with our wool communities, and in particular with all of the animal fibers. And so this is a traveling exhibition which started in Oslo and then moved to Amsterdam, which was very instrumental, I think, in opening up the dialogue and introducing us to many new ideas. There's lots of writing and there's lots of videos on their website, which can give you lots more information if you're interested in understanding wool as it relates as a resource to all of our different parts of the world. Of course, the wool industry for centuries has been present in many different countries. Here in Europe, especially in Portugal, for example, wool plays a large role. However, one of the things that we learned in Rome is that it's very hard for small manufacturers, whether they're designers or farms, to integrate the full process in one location or within one country. And in many cases, those fleeces need to be sent to other countries to be washed or scoured or spun before they can come back and be turned into fashion or interior products. And so this is one of two of the largest scouring facilities in Portugal, which unfortunately this year was closed, which is a big drama and a big tragedy. And so there is a petition going around that I'm going to send you a link to, so that if you're interested, you can sign up to give your support to the Portuguese wool community in order to reopen this scouring facility and serve the country and indeed the region. For those of you that are visiting Eindhoven this week for Dutch Design Week, wool is in such people's minds that there is a whole exhibition in fashion dedicated to it from the New Order of Fashion Collective. So this is an exhibition which you can follow online or indeed visit if you're going to Eindhoven this week before Sunday. But when we think about wool, we also want to think about where it comes from, its origin story, its individual story, its place, its country. And so when we think about animal fibers, we can travel to many different parts of the world. And today we're going to be traveling to Mongolia, to South Africa, all over Europe, to the United States. And so these animals are present in all communities and they're intrinsic to our way of life for centuries, especially with nomadic peoples who have been caring for these animals, which give their fleeces so generously, as well as the land and environment around them. And so we can think about more precious animal fibers, such as vicuña. As you see here, these are photos taken by Marcela Echevarria in the Chaco ceremony in Peru, where we understand that this animal is not only valued and precious, but that has a sacred quality to it. it's part of culture, it's part of even spirituality. And so we can think about these more close-knit relationships that we have with these amazing animal fibers. There are also lots of new discussions going on to understand what is the value of these communities, what is the value of the fiber, as well as the people that care for them. This is Andrea Barrientos, and she came to fame recently because of the big scandal with Loro Piana's Vicuña sweater, which is probably sold for $14,000. Unlike the communities that raise these animals, unfortunately, they're getting very little to no money. And so there is a recentering of economies, of being transparent, of understanding the origin of things in order to have a better connection with these materials. We can also travel to South Africa, where we will learn about mohair and the Angora goat. This was another inspiring part of our seminar in Rome that we wanted to share with you. South Africa in itself is responsible for about 70% of the world's mohair production, whether the animals are grown there or it's processed there. And so it's an intrinsic part of understanding this amazing, incredible fiber. Or we can even think about place when we look at the work of Daniel Costa, who works very closely with yak farmers in Nepal, where this amazing noble fiber is being hand spun before it's knit or felted into amazing rugs and other textiles for the home. So with this, we understand the interconnectedness that these animals have, not just with the environment, but also with people, and that we all need to learn how to coexist together. And so this is where we think the enormous wealth of hope lies, the hope that comes from animal fibers, from learning from each other. And that's exactly what we're going to do today and why we called this, this forum together. We can think about our relationship to these animals. And as Li is going to explain to you shortly, that we have this interconnected relationship where they exist because of us and we have warmth because of them. So this is an image of our in-person conference, which we had in Rome, where a very intimate group of people gathered to exchange and be together. It was an amazing experience, and I'm sure you've been following it through Instagram and everybody's posts. But it showed us also the importance of doing live events where we can come together and exchange. And so we will be doing at least one of these a year in the future. So we look forward to surprising you with a new program next time. This was the amazing venue, which is I Casali del Pino. This is the farm where Silvia Fendi has established in the last 20 years, this amazing agricultural venue, which is not only a working farm, but also a hotel, which you can visit, which you can shop at, which you can eat at, and which you can spend lots of time in, which all of the guests and speakers were able to do during our amazing stay there over several days. I'm now going to send you off to Li Edelkoort, who's going to give her opening keynote to today's conference, which she wrote and created especially for today's presentation. But this is an image of her a year ago. Last summer, we were in Germany at a special event called Ornamenta, and there in a sort of ceremonial space, Li was entrusted with the act of marrying people to objects and friends and new partners. And so one of the people that she got to marry was this lady on the left who wanted to marry her to alpacas. And so this shows us just how much people are linked and intertwined with all of our friendly, furry friends. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand it over to Li, who's in Eindhoven for Dutch Design Week. And so we look forward to her opening statement about the Lamb of God. So take it over to Li for your Sunday sermon, because it is a Sunday.